It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show. This is episode 13. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Saturday, December 31st, 2022. And today is the Game of the Year Spectacular for 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show. Today we're going to talk about the best video games of the year for 2022. We're going to rank them in an ordered list from 1 to 10, and I'm going to tell you what those are today. So this is a monumental day for the Dep Lewis Show. This is the end of the year. This is the day we get to reveal our highly coveted, highly sought after list of video games that have been the best of the year, according to the Dep Lewis Show. So we're going to bring those to you in the midsection of this podcast today. We're going to have a regular kind of show today, but the midsection is going to be filled with Game of the Year discussions, and it's going to be filled with that top 10 Game of the Year list. So please stick around for that in this episode. So I just want to welcome you to the show. Hope you've had a great week since we've talked, or since I've talked to you, and hopefully you played a lot of games and caught up on some backlog stuff for 2022. Because after today, any of those games for 2022, you got to throw them out. They're no good. They don't matter. You can't talk about them, can't play them, can't know them. So rest in peace to all the games from 2022. It's been a great year. It was very easy to get a list together. It was hard to decide the position on some games, and there's still many things that I'd like to try from this year. So these games are still alive and well, despite what the Dep Lewis Show might say. So we're here to celebrate those video games today on the Dep Lewis Show, episode 13, Game of the Year Spectacular. So thank you for being here. I hope it's going to be a great episode, and we are going to get right into it. So we're going to start off with me telling you what to do. And what to do is follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You need to like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback you may have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7. It's always receiving emails, fast, high-paced emails coming through there, getting responded to, getting a lot of LOLs and funny shit in there. So please write some shit to the DepLewisShow@gmail.com. I would love to see what you have to say. And there are full episodes of the Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So pretty much anywhere you could go to want a podcast, you can listen to the Dep Lewis Show. And if you'd like to support even further, you can sign up for my Patreon. There's one tier on there currently called the Ground Floor tier, and that is $1 a month as a general support tier for the Dep Lewis Show. And I would greatly appreciate it. So anything you do for the Dep Lewis Show is appreciated and doesn't go unnoticed. And just thank you for being here for me for the end of the year. So please follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. That's just what you need to know for that part. And clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. So please view those and like those for me if you can, or leave a comment. It would really help. And let's talk about some notes from last show. Let's see. Last show was a boozy adventure, a night episode. I could have got pulled over if I was doing that episode in the car, but I survived. I was doing the episode on land, and it was perfectly fine. But I'd like to say for last episode, I want to say sorry about the drinking. I had that bottle of Pepsi I kept opening and I could hear, and I had a dry mouth. I was sipping bourbon and just having a great time. So it wasn't how I'd normally like to bring the pod to you, but hey, it was a fun episode, and we do this every week, so you're going to get some variety out there of what's going on. But this is back to a morning episode for the Deputy Lewis Show, the Dep Lewis Show, and hopefully we will have not a lot of noise going on. I'm sitting in this hard chair. I got the heat off. I have the filter on. I have the shoelace with the filter on the mic, and there doesn't seem to be much noise outside today. So this could be a great show for the audio. So we will see. That'll still be determined out here. So that was one of my notes from last show. I'm sorry about the drinking on there with the bottle of Pepsi. That thing's loud and annoying. And today we just have some coffee, and there's nothing I can just sip that easy, and we'll keep on moving. All right, so let's see. Okay, last week I forgot to do the plugs at the end of last week for like what you should do. So I'm going to do an extra round of that here to make up for it. And I can't forget to do this at the end again, because that's the whole thing. I got to promote this show. I got to get people to like it. I got to get people to follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. They need to like, they need to subscribe, they need to rate, they need to comment, they need to review, they need to turn on notifications, and they need to tell a friend or two. And they got to email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of the Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. And there's clips on YouTube and TikTok. So I just wanted to double up for that in this correction section to remind myself that I don't need to forget that. especially not while doing a boozy podcast. I can't just be walking out the door and saying peace. I got to let you know what you got to do, or you're not going to do it. So that's how it goes. So please and thank you for any and all your support, and thank you for listening to me tell you what to do. I really appreciate it. All right, let's see. I said my Nintendo games for the last 3 years were Pokemon Arceus. Oh yeah, on my Nintendo wrap-up highlight thing, it highlighted 3 games that I've been playing for some portion in the last 3 years. And last week I said it was Hades, Zelda, and Pokemon Arceus. And it's not possible for Pokemon Arceus to be played in the last 3 years because that game came out in 2022. So I meant to say Pokemon Sword, and I think I did say Pokemon Sword in like a following sentence. So you probably know what I meant anyways, but I just wanted to clarify that sounded kind of crazy. And then when I was talking on there, I wanted to look up myself some FIFA history since I've been into FIFA this year. And I just, I called it FIFA 3, and I was like, that's really stupid. It was probably called FIFA 2003. But I looked up the first time FIFA was released was in 1993, and it was called FIFA International Soccer. In 1994, it became known as FIFA Soccer 95. So there you go. You get the kind of more traditional name with the year in advance, like all the sports games do. And let's see, some more FIFA facts. FIFA 12 holds the record for the fastest selling sports game ever, with over 3.2 million games sold and over $186 million generated at retail in its first week of release. So, I mean, the internet says that record still stands. I think it being limited to, let's see, well, not limited, but it says the first week of sales is just really an interesting part of it. So this really could still be holding up from, I guess, 2011. This game was just selling like epic hotcakes apparently in that first week, and I guess nothing has matched the tenacity of the purchasing of this game since then. But it's a little bit hard to believe. But the internet said it, so I'm bringing it here to you, and take it with 3 grains of salt. So we'll see. All right, the highest seller overall of FIFA 18 was FIFA 18 with 26.4 million. So that seems to be the benchmark for the FIFA series for what they're trying to sell. So FIFA 18, so that was in 2017. That game was really, really selling well. And FIFA 19 with 20 million copies, and FIFA 11 with 16 million. So I've played a little bit of FIFA throughout the years, but I played a lot of FIFA 23 this year and really been into it. And I'll be looking into some FIFA next year since it's going to have a name change. This is the last year of it officially being called FIFA, so it'll be interesting to keep up with that. And I need to remind myself to watch some Premier League too, because that's been going on. I learned that you can subscribe to Peacock TV, and that should allow you to watch all the Premier League games, or basically the ones that they televise. So I think that service is still $4.99 a month, and it has all those Premier League games on in the morning. So this is another reminder to myself that I need to sign up for that, because it would be cool to watch, have some morning sports going on. So those were all the notes from last show. We're going to have a standard kind of show for you today. We're going to have our normal section where I talk about what I'm playing. The mid section of this show, I have a game I'd like to talk to you about, and then I'd also have a lot of games I'd like to talk to you about, because we are going to do the game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022 in the mid section of this podcast. We're going to talk about the 10 best games of the year. We're going to rank them in order. We're going to talk about other games I played but didn't quite make the list. And then we're going to talk about other games that came out that I did not purchase, but I'm interested in. So there's a good list of those that, even though we're in a multi-million-dollar studio and this is a world-famous podcast, I can't just buy all the games out there. So there are some you got to pick and choose on, and obviously you got to pick and choose money-wise, and you got to pick and choose time-wise. So it's just nice to have this list of games to look at. I can check for sales on some of these games, or if I have a downtime, maybe I can purchase one. But there's no shortage of games to play for 2022. I think if you have a negative outlook on 2022's games, you might be wrong in the head, or that's just your opinion. But there's been many, many games this year. I've enjoyed watching the Game of the Year podcast, and it seems to be the resounding sentiment that there's plenty of games to choose from this year. So that's a really great thing, and just shout out to all the video game makers and all the video game workers and anybody involved in bringing these video games to the public. It's really, really cool, and it's amazing how many of them that there are, and the varying options we have in games, and different styles and difficulty levels and price points and versions to play in consoles and ports. Like it's really, really cool, and it's a massive industry, and it's really, really fun to talk about. So that's what we're going to do here today. So the first thing we're going to start talking about today is what I've been playing, and let's see, we're going to start off with the game that could be on the Game of the Year list. If you've been listening to this podcast, you probably know that it has a pretty good rank. It's going to have a pretty good ranking on there. Spoiler alert. But that is Vampire Survivors. I've been playing level 3 of this, which I recently unlocked, and you unlock that by reaching level 40 on the inlaid library. So I was playing the DLC level a good bit and really liking it, and I was saying that was my favorite level in the game, but I don't know, I really like this dairy plant. It could be my favorite level in the game. And then my other thought that I'm having right now is that I could just like all the levels in this game, and I could just like this game a whole lot. But it's been exciting to see this new level, dairy plant. I've only played it a couple times, but I had some decent success on there, and I like the has a lot of Skeletor guys on there trying to get me, and just the whole layout of it's nice. I like that there's some like scenery you can play off of, so you can kind of funnel funnel the guys. You can kind of protect yourself up top or down low using like a wall, and then you can just kind of funnel the guys in and blame them with all your abilities, and then pick up the jewels. But it's really cool. When I first started playing this game, I thought there was only one level, and I was still having this game on my Game of the Year list. So now this is the third level I'm playing, and I believe there's at least maybe 7 more levels, and there's the DLC level, which I need to play some more of. So there's no shortage of content for this game. It's an amazing game. Shout out to Ponkel. I would love to see this game come to the Nintendo Switch in 2023. I will still consider it for my Game of the Year list if it does for next year, because it's that important. And that's the next thing I'm really waiting on for this game, besides just keep playing it some more, is I want to get a Switch release of this game. Because it'll be nice to have a Switch version to take with you on the go, be able to play in handheld, and I think for a lot of people that would be their main version if they were able to purchase it. So another great thing to think about too, with all this cross-platform play stuff these days, if Vampire Survivors could somehow implement that, like if you could carry over your Vampire Survivors save from Xbox to Switch to PC or Mac, that would be really, really cool. Because I have bought multiple versions of this game, which is not really a problem because it's so inexpensive. But it would be nice to be able to play on my different platforms and have my same version. So I know this game, Ponka was working on this game by himself and then quit his day job to, hire a few more people. So that was just last year, I believe, or the year prior. So we need to have those tempered expectations with what these people can do. But obviously this game is being very successful. Game of the Year discussions are only going to make it more successful and get it into more people's, purview, if that's the word. But I think that's something we could see now, thinking about it. A cross-platform kind of thing for Vampire Survivors would be really cool. I kind of wish more of these indie games would do that now, thinking about it. Because there are a lot of games that I go through that I'm trying to decide which platform to buy them on. And it's always the argument of, do you want the Switch version to take handheld, or do you want the version on the console that you got to play on your TV or your computer that runs a little bit better, but you're limited to having your box and your TV and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing to have the options, and I hope Vampire Survivors gives us that option pretty soon. But I've been playing that dairy plant level. I've got 2 relics on this map, so I immediately noticed there was an arrow on this map pointing down, and I don't know if the relic unlocked a new level for me, but it seems like it did. So that could be a possible way to unlock levels too. And then I even picked up the second relic on that level in the same playthrough. So I was really, really balling. I built up my abilities enough where I just started booking it to the bottom of the map. I usually don't go for the arrow right away, but it seems like maybe that's the move to do. So I need to start possibly heeding these directions a little more on these levels more immediately to try to get what they're leading me to. But it's usually too much fun to try to level up and just be killing all the guys. But it was neat to see that, and it was neat to have 2 objectives on there. So I can only imagine that the levels that I unlock further will have some more options like that. So Vampire Survivors is a great game. Go play it right now. I can't say that enough, and we will see if it's going to be on the Game of the Year list in the midsection for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022. We will see that later. So Vampire Survivors, can't recommend it enough. All right, another game that I actually purchased this week for $14.99 on the Nintendo Switch. It was released on December 23rd, 2022, and that is Sports Story. It is the sequel to Golf Story from 2017, and I had 1 session with this game so far. I thought it was really fun. This is a RPG like no other. This is a quote from the back of the box kind of quote. An RPG like no other, featuring a mix of sports and sporting activities wrapped up in one big story. With a multitude of characters to meet, you will make plenty of friends and enemies along the way. Sports Story isn't just about sports, it's an all-out adventure. And this is developed and published by Sidebar Games. And I think they did a poor job of marketing the release of this game, because this was something I was checking for, and even in early December, it didn't have a release date yet, but they had mentioned in some prior announcement or trailer or something that the game would be released in December. I guess, yeah, it said December 2022, but we never got a date. And then I just happened to look this week or I saw something about it. I don't know how I discovered that it came out. I might have even just looked at my wish list and saw that it was out, and I had to go back and look at what day it came out, and that was 12/23/22. So just kind of interesting that, maybe they didn't put any of their budget or money towards their marketing or whatever, but it seems like something they should have done, especially around this Game of the Year time, and it being a $14.99 price point and a sequel to a popular game from 2017. But it's been fun. I started off my game. It just starts like, I'm about to say starts like Elden Ring, but it does start, you just kind of dropped in and you have to just walk around and start talking to people and figure out what you got to do. You do have a coach. He gives you one objective to get him some juice, but you need orange to give that to the juice maker to get the juice. And then you don't even have a club, but you buy a club, and then you can start getting punch holes to get the thing. So it's like it's pretty easy to figure out, but it did take a second to see what you were doing. And you get the golf club, and I guess that's the first sport in this story that you start playing. So that is the transition probably from last game from 2017, which I played. I played maybe a couple hours of that game and really liked it. It had kind of a, it has a top-down kind of Stardew Valley look. You're playing sports in there. So the old game you were playing, it's just like kind of a simplified version of golf, but you basically just tee up on the map, and then you can hit these holes or hit things on the map. So you're doing some of that early in this game too. So this is something that it's not going to quite make my Game of the Year list because I haven't played enough of it, but I'm going to plan to play some more of it in 2023, and I wanted to let you know that this game is now released. So just something that I wanted to make you aware of out there, listener. If you'd like to check out the sports story, it is on Nintendo Switch for $14.99, and you can go buy that digitally now. All right, this next game, let's see. Sipping on some coffee over here this morning for the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year extravaganza. The next game was recommended to me by the great Volnus. This was something recommended to me a while ago that I should have jumped on earlier because it's very fun. And this game could have also, this is a spoiler, but this could have also made the Game of the Year list if not for me finally deciding to purchase it so late. But this game is Mini Motorways. This is a game that's been out since 2019, so that's another kind of argument for it maybe not making a list, but it was just released for Nintendo Switch on May 11, 2022. So it is a new Nintendo Switch release, and I'm sure that's given it a new audience, and that's where my friend Volnus is playing, and that's where I'm playing as well. And this is a puzzle strategy game released by New Zealand studio Dinosaur Polo Club. They have one of the cooler logos that I've seen on like the intro splash screen. I love that Dinosaur Polo Club logo. It's really, really cool, and it's really cute. It's a follow-up to their 2015 video game Mini Metro, which I really don't know too much about that, unfortunately, and I bet it was a good game too. And the game tasks the player with creating roads to connect colored houses to buildings. So you're basically just building the roadways to connect the city all together. You're trying to get we'll call them patrons. You're trying to get the patrons from their home to work and back. And if it gets too bunched up or if it gets too much traffic and people aren't able to make it to their building, then time's going to expire and you are going to fail the level. So I've been playing the level Los Angeles mostly so far. I've jumped in to Beijing, and I think I played one more level, but I've been mainly just rerunning the Los Angeles one because it's been fun. And I've even done the daily challenge a couple times. So the leaderboard stuff in this game is really cool. I can check out what the global leaderboards are doing, and I can also check in on Volnus to see where I'm trying to get to with my score. So I'm kind of getting closer to him on Los Angeles. His score right now is 1,600 something. I was down at 500 on my first couple runs. Got up to 700, 900, and I just got over 1,000 recently. So I'm figuring some things out. He actually gave me some tips about it's smart around like turn 4, whenever early in the whole thing, that you can erase all that you've done and just reset it, so you can get a better base for your city. So sometimes that seems like it's going to be useful, most of the time, to kind of do a little bit of a reset early on, because you're just kind of getting things thrown at you throughout your whole run of this game. And early enough, you still have time where you can kind of fix the foundation of it, and it's not going to hurt you too much to spend your time doing that. So I think that was a really good tip for this game, and it's been really fun. This is a great podcast game to listen to a podcast. So you could be listening to the Dep Lewis Show right now, all 13 episodes and all the episodes from 2023 to come. You can be playing mini Motorways. And I think that's something really important to me. I like to have a nice mix of games where I like to listen to them and then games where I can play podcasts with. So I've been hurting a little bit for some podcast games, and this is a perfect entry for that. And I can see myself playing this game a whole lot. So Mini Motorways is really, really cool. I can definitely recommend it. It was $14.99 last week on the Switch, so a pretty great price point for a game. And I think I can highly recommend this to you. So this is an assist from Volness, a hockey assist from Volness to you. So he assisted that to me, and then I assisted it to you, and then you can score the goal by buying this game for yourself. So Mini Motorways, really, really cool game. It's been out since 2019 on other platforms, but is on Switch as of 2022, so that is important to highlight. All right. The next game that I've been playing this week is some Elden Ring. Elden Ring, there doesn't need to be much said about that game. It's amazing. I played a long session of this game. I explored a castle. I got past the giant bow guy, a bow and arrow guy who was really, really scary. I was actually able to sneak around him a little bit and get away, but when I first pulled up on the castle, he noticed me and was trying to kick my ass. But I was able to sneak past it and get behind this castle, so I felt like a badass. And I was surprised about how south I was able to go. I wasn't realizing. I've heard that you don't understand how big the map is and how many different areas there are in this game, especially after just, Limgrave is kind of like the tutorial. But I made it farther south than I was able ever to go, and I made it into this castle, and I ended up getting some like talisman at the end. So there was that basically seemed like the end of it. There was a whole like little spiel of going through this castle and this back area of it, and it basically just led you to this talisman. I had to fight some enemies, and then I couldn't really find anywhere else to go besides back. And then there is further to go in that castle, like to go actually in the bowels. I was gonna say the bowels of the castle. I think that is right though, but actually like entering the castle and fighting those people in there seems like a different story. I'm definitely too scared to do that yet, but I wasn't scared, and wasn't too scared to sneak around the back and find something that seems cool. Some of the comments on the ground from like other players when they leave the comments said this was one of the better objects that you can find. So I still don't really understand all the equipment and stuff in this game, but I'm just collecting it, and I'm just using this. I'm just trying to embrace the exploratory nature of this game where you're supposed to just walk around. I'm really trying to do that more in games. It's something I'm not as good with, and more games are doing it this day, where they're just wanting you to walk around and poke at things and figure out what to do and how to do it. And I'm kind of discovering that's actually pretty fun to play. And this session with Elden Ring was almost relaxing. I talked last week. I feel like I'm too much of a noob to be relaxed while I'm playing this game yet, but I was getting there a little bit. And I think the walking around is just the way to go for that. And I don't know. I've been kind of playing Elden Ring on and off with the next game I'm going to talk about. So I kind of have two open world games going right now, but they're both really fun. And it hasn't really been too hard to switch back and forth from control wise. So I've just been kind of jumping in either one based on which mood I'm in. So it's been really fun. So we're going to talk about that next game now. So we just mentioned Elden Ring. You should go play that. I believe it's been on sale for $42 still, $41.99. So that's a great price for that game digitally, and I think you should buy it. All right, so the next game that I've been playing, my other open world game right now that I've been playing in conjunction with Elden Ring some, just depending on my mood, is Horizon Forbidden West. That's a game that came out earlier in the year, and I actually got this game in June and played some, but I've been back on the train of Horizon Forbidden West recently, and I think I'm kind of loving this game. This could be kind of one of my bigger sleepers of the year. It's going to have a nice place on the Dep Lewis Show list, which we will talk about in the next section. But I just wrote down some comments about this game. The side quests are great. I just freed a soldier who was imprisoned incorrectly. I wiped out this whole gang of dudes with bow and arrow headshots. So that was pretty cool to be fighting some actual humans in this game besides these big ass machines. So I was able to use my bow in the same fashion though, and just shoot them in the head and dispose of them. And I was able to overturn incorrect imprisonment on that guy. And then that guy is actually going to help me on a mission to further investigate those bad guys. So it was pretty cool. And it seems like all the side missions in this game have been worthy of doing so far. And I don't know, I've just been checking out the icons on the map and going to them, and I've just been walking around some. This game, it does a really good job of always having something in your sight to do or touch or pick up or it just makes it really easy to walk around, and the world looks so great, and the graphics in this game are so good. This game has got to be one of the best looking games ever of where we're currently at, and definitely a great showpiece for the PlayStation 5 and next gen. I think all those things together just make this a really great game, great open world game, and it has a great story, and the story isn't too serious. I keep thinking it's like a little bit like Uncharted, and I think I've said that before, and I mean that as a compliment because I like the Uncharted story, where it's kind of like it's not so serious, but it has some good action to it and some good moments, but it's a little bit lighthearted, but not silly. So it's been really, really cool, and it reminds me of that, and being in a great open world with running around with Aloy is really cool. I really like her as a lead character. She looks badass, and I like her interactions with the other people and the NPCs, and her responses and her mindset, and it just makes it really fun. I think there's a lot of things coming together in this game to make it great. I've started to like riding around on the machines more, so I'm using that option some more, riding around on the machine so I can get around the map quicker. But I do like just walking around because then it's just easier to pick up things and jump around and get up places. But I've been using the machine more, that I'm kind of branching out in this game and exploring. Exploring is still fun. There's something in any direction. It looks amazing. The water graphics are insane. I like the swimming even. I did drown in a cave though, and that was scary at one point. But I was still kind of learning the controls. But they make you like go down to some caves, and then you got to swim through some areas, and it is kind of scary. But I think I appreciate the scariness of it, and now knowing the controls, it makes it. I only had that one frustrating part with that, but most of the time swimming in video games kind of sucks anyways. But just swimming through that water, and this game is badass. It's really, really cool. And let's see. Now the battle right outside the Forbidden West gate was insane. So the whole story was like kind of hitting a early crescendo into this big battle. The embassy was ambushed, and all those people were killed. Even that pompous guy that wasn't nice to Aloy. And then I think the bad lady's name was Regalia. So I gotta look out for her because she didn't want the Aloy smoke. So Aloy kind of defended herself at least, but helped out some other people too, and limited the casualties some. But it was a pretty brutal ambush. But Aloy wanted that Regalia person to come down and fight, and Regalia said, "Nope, we already came to do what we came to do." And she didn't want that smoke with Aloy, so she dipped out. And then Aloy just stood there with her fist going, "Oh, damn it, I'm gonna get you, you son of a bitch." And so that's the next kind of main thread where the story's going. But I've just kind of been more into the open world stuff, and it's been really fun. I've been listening to most of all the branching conversation paths. I did this with the guy at the embassy, and it was interesting. And then he died, so I felt thankful that I got all his thoughts in early because he was no longer there, sort of moments later. So it was really cool. And he even makes a point now thinking about it. When you're talking to this NPC, he even says, he goes, "Hey, this story's going to take a little while, but I'd love to tell it to you." And it kind of like asks you twice if you want to listen to it. And then he kind of keeps cutting you off. He's like, "There's going to be a lot more to this," but I kind of went through it, and it was very interesting and fun to listen to. And it does kind of help you like build a connection to that guy for real. And then he dies shortly later, and it's a little bit extra sad. So I think that was a good kind of example of like a setup and a punch in this game where they hit you with the wombo combo pretty nicely, and it just makes for some really good video gaming. So Horizon Forbidden West has been really fun. It's slowly becoming a pretty big sleeper for me in 2022, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's been one of the games where when I'm wanting to sit down and play something, that I've been loading that up. I haven't been able to really listen to a podcast while playing this game, but some of the open world stuff would be okay for podcasting, but I just keep coming upon too many things that are interesting that I want to be listening to the sound for. So that's just a thought on this, that this definitely seems like you need to listen to this game, but there could be a point where I feel more comfortable to be doing a podcast with it. But either way, Horizon Forbidden West is really cool, and that's the last game that we're going to talk about here in the what I've been playing section. So I've been playing a lot of good stuff this week. I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I purchased Sports Story for $14.99 on Switch, but I haven't played too much of that yet, but it's really cool. Mini Motorways could be another sleeper for me this year, along with Horizon Forbidden West. Mini Motorways came to Switch on 5/11/2022, and I just purchased this last week for $14.99, so that game's really cool. Elden Ring is out there for purchase, so you should go buy that right now. I would say out of most games that would be a guaranteed home run smash hit if you went to buy it. And then Horizon Forbidden West. That's been a great game for me recently. So that's going to wrap up this first section of the podcast. We're going to come back for the midsection on this Dep Lewis Show, episode 13, Game of the Year Extravaganza. And we are going to start that extravaganza in the midsection. I have one game that I want to talk about at the top of the midsection, and then we're going to get right into the best games of the year for 2022. And so we're going to tell you the best 10 games of the year. We're going to put them in order. We're going to talk about the other games that I played but didn't make the list. And then we're going to talk about other games that were released that I didn't purchase but I'm interested in. So there's a whole lot of games to talk about for the 2022 year. And then we might even end the midsection with some video game New Year's resolutions. So if you want to think about those, if you have any of those, start thinking. And you might hear some of mine at the end of the midsection. So please go take a quick break. And I'm going to as well. And then we'll be back in a minute to tackle the midsection of this show and the game of the year for 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show. Come on back. Welcome back to the Dep Lewis Show. This is episode 13, and this is the midsection of the show. And this is where we get into the Game of the Year discussion for 2022. The video game of the Year extravaganza is here. Can't believe that it's here. We had a great year of video games, so we're going to get into that in just a minute. There's just one game that I'd like to talk about. This is usually kind of what I've been seeing out there in the world section. And there's been not a whole lot of news or anything going on this week. Everybody's taken off for the holidays and for the New Year's. So this is a great time to be doing the Game of the Year. But a game that I'd like to talk about is a game called Dwarf Fortress. This is now on Steam as of 12/06/2022. This has been a lifetime living project that was created and updated since 2003 with no end in sight. So I just can't believe I've never heard of this. So I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. In this game, you build a fortress to help your dwarves survive despite threats of starvation, dragons, and madness. So it has a really cool top-down view. And I've seen a lot of people playing this recently and talking very highly of it. There is no Mac OS version, so I'm unable to play this, or I don't have a platform currently that can play this. But I guess people are playing this on their Steam Decks and on their PCs, and who knows, maybe it'll come to another console, but I guess it looks like it's a game that lends itself to being like a computer game. But just if you haven't heard of it, go check it out. I need to look up some more information on this myself. I just kind of got some quick hitters here with it being a living project that I've never really, I guess a lot of games are living projects, but to start calling yourself a living project from 2003 is pretty impressive. So that game has been going around for many years, so they're obviously doing something right. So if you haven't heard about the Dwarf Fortress, go check it out. It might just be even fun to watch somebody play it. So that is the only thing that I want to talk to you about, what I've been seeing out there in the world. So now we're going to get into what everybody's been waiting for. And what I've been waiting for, it's going to be a list of 10 video games. They're going to be the best ones of the year. This is going to be the best list that you've ever heard of video games for 2022, and it's being brought to you by the Dep Lewis Show. So we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start from number 10 on the games of the year, and we're going to go down the list until we get to number 1, and then we'll talk about some more things at the end. We're going to talk about some other games that I played but didn't make the list, and then we're also going to talk about some games I purchased, but games I did not purchase but I'm interested in. So let's just get right into it. So this, you can't believe it, listener out there, this is the official Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list for 2022. And we're going to start with game number 10. This is the game that snuck into that last slot. This is a game that I've been playing recently, and I think it holds this position well on this list. And that game is Neon White. So Neon White is the 10th best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022. This is a game that is on PC. I'm playing it on Nintendo Switch, and I believe it just came to PlayStation recently, so we could possibly be seeing an Xbox version, but I have no problems with the way this game runs on the Switch, and it's like a first-person platform game. So basically, you're tasked with a level in front of you that's actually pretty quick, so it might take 20 seconds to 20 to 30 seconds to finish the level, and you have to kill a certain amount of demons on the map to be able to exit. And then so you're concerned with killing the demons on the map, and then you're concerned with getting to the end of the level. So there's parts in each of these levels where you can mess up and you need to restart, but it makes it, you just hit the select button and it jumps you right back to the beginning of the level. So it's a great game for, doing multiple runs and trying to beat your own score. It also has great leaderboards in there for looking at, trying to beat your friend's score or beat the global score. So Neon White is really, really cool. The only negative I can say about this game is maybe the cutscenes and the story. I like the way they visually look, but they kind of I don't know what the word is for go on, but they kind of go on a little bit too long, and some of the stuff's just kind of corny or whatever. So I wouldn't put much emphasis on that. You can easily you can't skip it all the way, but they have a fast forward button you can hit. So I'm usually just hitting the fast forward button on the cutscenes, but that's mainly just due to the dialogue and not the way the characters look. I actually like the way the characters look, and some of the new people you meet kind of in the hub area are really cool and like cute looking too. Like just like cute little animal guys that are cool looking. So I really do like a lot of the visual stuff in this game. I would just maybe think some of the story stuff is pretty forgettable, but Neon White's really great. I think I'm only in the second hub world so far, so I'm really just kind of getting into it, but I've been replaying the levels in the first world trying to get my scores better, so it's really fun. This is something I just bought. I've been tracking this game since it came out that I wanted to buy it, but I finally just pulled the trigger recently, and I think this game could have been a little higher on my list if I had purchased it earlier, so I'm glad to bring it to you here on the Game of the Year list, and it's going to be the number 10 slot. It's going to be Neon White. All right, the number 9. So the 9th best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022 is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe version. So this is basically the sequel to the Stanley Parable, but they just call it the Ultra Deluxe version. And the way they handle this in the game is something you should just see. There's not too much I should tell you about this game besides the narrator in this game is amazing. He has an awesome voice that is one of the I think that's one of the main highlights of the game is listening to the narrator. So this definitely has to be one of the better story games I played this year. It's a smaller experience, but there's a lot of pathways you can look at and explore. You don't necessarily have to do them all, but it's just really cool. It gives you a lot of options on how to play it, and it's just really, really interesting the stuff they do with it being the sequel. I never played the first game, so I was basically this game has the content from the first game and the new content in it, so I was getting to kind of enjoy it all at once. And that's obviously probably a pretty cool experience, getting to have it all at once. But the people that were waiting on this probably were super excited too. So I can't speak to the difference between the people playing this originally and playing with the Ultra Deluxe content. But this game is really neat. Shout out to the bucket. You carry a bucket around. I don't know. I just think this game is not a full price game. I believe it's like $14.99, maybe $19.99. It's on multiple platforms. I would think I could recommend this to anyone who just wants who would like a story game and like a game that just kind of makes you think about things, and the narrator is pretty relaxing and kind of funny, and it's just a really, really cool game. And I believe there's even an achievement in this game where it says you haven't played this game in 5 years. So they're really, really playing on the multiple paths in this game, and that you might not see everything, and you can pick it up again at some point. But I definitely, earlier in the year when I purchased this, I played this for a good while, and I kind of put it down feeling like, okay, I'd seen the majority of the content, and I even looked up, some of the ways to get the different types of endings, and I did some of those, but there's still stuff I haven't seen in this game. So this could be really fun to pick up, sometime later in the year of 2023 or, 2024, or just at some point and pick it up and play it again. And I would probably, remember some things, and I'd probably see some new things in there that I thought were cool. So really neat. This is probably one of the more unique games on my list this year, and just something that I really didn't have on my radar before, and I purchased it when this Ultra Deluxe came out. So just props to the developers for they achieved their goal. They probably retained old people who played it, and they were able to get some new people in there too. So just looking from my standpoint, that it worked pretty perfectly, and I was appreciative that I did it because it's really cool. So number 9 is the Stanley Parable, the Ultra Deluxe version. Really, really great game. All right, another game for the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list 2022. The 8th best game of the year is another Nintendo Switch game, and that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. So there were multiple Pokemon games released in 2022, but Pokemon Legends Arceus is the one that I played and the one that I'd like to put on this list. This was a very early year game for 2022, so I think that's why it holds a little favor in my heart, that this was something I played early in the year for a while before the mad rush of all the games came out, and it's really fun. This was a relaxing game. I maybe played 25 hours of this game, so I never completed it, or I probably didn't see as much as I'd like to see, so maybe I could go back to this at some point. But they were trying some new things in the Pokemon formula. I definitely would recommend this. I don't know. I haven't played Scarlet and Violet, the new release from the fall, but that game was marred with a lot of technical issues and bugs. And Pokemon Legends Arceus was, it's not running like Elden Ring or anything, but it looked okay on the Switch, and the art style was okay, and it had some new Pokemon mechanics in there, like catching the Pokemon out in the wild without having to battle them, and you have a mount you can ride around on, and just really cool. So this is something that I need to go back to, but I just enjoyed catching the Pokemon in this game. There's a bunch of different areas. You can catch multiple. A lot of times they want you to catch 10 versions of the same Pokemon or 20 versions. So this game is really just about going out there in the open world and exploring around the Pokemon and catching them. So I think maybe with my more recent ability to play a game without having just to follow the objectives, I think this would be something cool to go back to and just kind of play more relaxing like. So Pokemon Legends Arceus is something I could see myself playing more of in the future, but I definitely kind of feel like I played a good portion of this game and see what it's doing. But I can recommend this game to anyone who wants to play Pokemon, especially if you want to play a new Pokemon game for 2022. I would say this is the one to do it. I think it's doing a little bit cooler things with its mechanics. It's not the traditional gym flow of the mainline games, and even the mainline games are switching that up a little bit, but in my opinion, they're not switching it up enough. So Pokemon Legends Arceus, I feel like, should be the one to be highlighted, and hopefully we'll see some type of sequel. I don't know if the Pokemon Legends brand is going to become its own thing, but I would definitely be checking for another game in this series. So the number 8 game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022 is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Shout out to the Pokemons out there. Alright, so far I've been playing all these games on Nintendo Switch, and the 7th game of the year is another Nintendo Switch game as well, and this one's actually an exclusive. This was another early year release from 2022. I believe I was playing this after Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that game is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And this is a really great game. It was just pure fun and enjoyment. It had a little bit of Mario 3D trappings in there, like Mario Odyssey kind of trappings. Kirby has this ability, his mouthful mode, where he swallows things, and then he'll reflect those abilities from whatever he swallows. So, you can swallow a vending machine, then you can shoot cans out of your mouth. So all the levels have different things you can swallow in mouthful mode that make Kirby act differently, and the levels are really fun. The levels aren't too difficult. There are some difficult portions in this game. I've talked about in a previous podcast too. To get further on in this game, you need to collect some of the medals. So there's some different little things you need to collect within the level, besides just completing it, and that you eventually need these to unlock the further levels. So there could be some more depth in this game for me to play as well, but I probably played 30 hours of this game. I played a lot of the Kirby and the Forgotten Land earlier in the year. I don't know if 30 hours, but maybe 20 to 30. I really like this game, and there's a new Kirby game coming out this year in 2023, but it's going to be a remake of an old game, so I think it's smart they're releasing that, like I was saying in a prior podcast. But I still think if you're wanting to buy a Kirby game of recent time, that this is the one to do. It's really cool. You just pop up on the beach, you get into that, from the trailers you get to see that mall that's all run down. It looks kind of apocalyptic, so this was like post-apocalyptic Kirby. But, all the graphics in this game are cool. The art style is really neat. Controlling Kirby is really fun. And this is a full price game, but I could definitely see if this game gets in the $40 range, I would definitely say cop it. It's really fun. And this could be a podcast game. This is a game where you can listen to the music too. And so you can kind of do it either way, which is nice. And I highly recommend the Kirby. I've never really played Kirby too much, besides maybe in Smash Brothers. So I don't have too much of a Kirby knowledge base, but this was a great entry for me, and I would be looking for some more Kirby in the future. So Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming in at number 7 on the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list. All right, so let's see here. Let me get a sip of this Joe over here. Having some great coffee. All right, the number 6 Game of the Year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022 is a game that there have been many iterations of this game, and it just so happens that there's a great one released in 2022, and that's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This is a game that I actually bought 2 copies of, so I have a digital version on PlayStation 5, and then I bought a hard copy for Xbox because a lot of my friends bought it there. This game does have cross-platform play, but I just wanted to, I think I have six friends that have it on Xbox or something, so I just wanted to eliminate me being the one PlayStation chatter. I don't know if it's actually pretty easy to work around that, but either way, this seems like a great game to have on either console. They're not releasing another mainline Call of Duty in 2023. They're releasing a big update to this game, so that's pretty cool. So, if you're buying this game, you can have some pretty good comfort that's going to be supported, and it's going to be a priority for the developers for a while. So this is something you could be playing kind of long term. Like I said, I have a lot of friends playing this game, so that's made it get a really good spot in this list because it's been a fun thing to have a multiplayer game back in my world. I haven't really been playing too many multiplayer games in the prior years, so it's been cool to have this. To even be turning down like invites. People are playing this game, and I'm like, no, not tonight. And I know they'll be playing again, and I'll be playing some other time too. So it's just fun to have that option out there to get on the Call of Duty and and get some and work on your kill death with some friends. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare is a style of Call of Duty I like. I think they did everything correctly in this game. I'm using that P90 gun. It's been my main thing, the PDSW, whatever it's called. And I have Xbox Live for my Xbox Live subscription I just got I'm good through March 2024, so I'm going to need to be utilizing that on the Xbox, so I'm going to be playing a good bit of this Call of Duty in 2023, and that's why it's the number 6 slot on this list, and I highly recommend the Call of Duty, especially if you're into Call of Duty and haven't played it in a while. This would be the one to go play, or if you're new to the series and interested, then this is the one to go play. This is a really, really fun multiplayer game, and I think it runs great. It looks great. I don't have any differences between the PS5 and the Xbox version, but just really cool. So they've gotten 2 purchases out of me, and I'm going to put them at number 6 on my list. So number 6 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for the Game of the Year list for Dep Lewis Show 2022. All right, number 5. Number 5 is a PlayStation 5 game. It's a PlayStation 5 exclusive. This is probably the biggest sleeper of me for the year. This is something I got in June, or it came out earlier than June. I got this game in June, played some of it in June, but I haven't played any of it. I just started back playing it again in the last few weeks, and I've been loving it. So that game, number 5 game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022, is Horizon Forbidden West. This game is getting this slot because of what it's done for me already. It's been really fun. I've been able to, just be able to explore in this game. And have fun. So just walking around and doing things, picking things up has been fun just because of all the stuff there is to do, and the graphics of this game. I think this might be the best looking game ever, or it's got to be in contention for one of the best looking games ever. I love the story content in this game. It's kind of lighthearted, but it's not silly, and I think it's interesting to listen to, and the characters are cool, and some of them are nice, and some of them are mean, some of them are like assholes, and I just like, there's plenty of things on the map to go to, and they're all really fun, and controlling Aloy is fun, and I think this game could have been higher on my list if I had been playing it earlier, but I definitely think that this game's getting its number 5 slot based on what it's done, and then based on, the time I'm going to have with it in 2023, so, the year cuts off after today for 2022, but this will be a game that I continue playing in 2023, and I can't wait to do so, I was even thinking, this is just a really big side note. Sorry, Horizon Forbidden West, but next year maybe I'll do a category for favorite game for 2022 and 2023. So we could see this game, even take a leap on that list. So I think that could be something fun to do, just based on the volume of how many of these games I'm still playing next year. But Horizon Forbidden West, really, really fun. I'd like to recommend that to you, and I think there's some DLC coming soon. So I could be getting back into it at a cool time. So I'll be checking for that DLC, and I'll probably purchase it because I actually got this game unexpectedly for free. So it just came with my console, and I didn't think I was getting the version with the download code. So it would kind of be only proper that I would pay for some DLC for this game, and I think it would be some whatever content they're giving. I'd trust it to be cool. So number 5 game for the Game of the Year list for the Dep Lewis Show 2022 is Horizon Forbidden West. So shout out to Aloy. Really cool out there. All right, so now we're getting down into the top 4. Pretty damn cool. Top 4 video games of the year, the best games that you could play if you're a video gamer out there. So you need to perk up your ears and listen. Maybe take a note or two, or go put these on a wish list, or just go immediately cop them. And so the number 4 game is Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb, got to be one of the coolest games I've played this year. I actually bought this on PlayStation and on Switch because I wanted to have it on Switch, and I think you should go play it. The main character in this game is so cute. You're running a cult. It's got Animal Crossing vibes. It's got Binding of Isaac vibes. It's fun to control. The combat is simple. It's fun to build your little town area up. All the options and all the sacrifice things you can do, and all the cards and all the upgrades you can learn, and all the levels. It's just really, really cool. And on PS5, even the rumble on there when you're rolling around is neat. And this is something I played. I have 2 files of this. I played a good bit of it, and it's something that I could see myself playing some more of. A friend of the show, Volnus, this would be one of his top games, and he beat it, I believe. So he's the one who turned me on to this game as well. This was another great, I think a reason for this game having so much favor is, it just got released and I had never heard of it before. So just getting a surprise like that is really, really a cool thing. And especially when it, when you don't have any expectations and then you hear about it and it exceeds your expectations. I think that's really impressive. And just shout out to the developers for that. This game, I guess the one thing I want to say about this game is when it first got released, it did have a lot of bugs, especially on the PS5 version, and that was the main version that I had originally. So it was kind of busted originally, where it really would make me not want to play it. I really couldn't progress through some of the levels. Volnus wasn't having as much trouble with the Switch version, but he was having some issues. But they took probably a month after release to patch it up and patch it up correctly. So you can't fault them too much. You could see what they were going for when it was originally released. There was enough there to entice you to keep playing it and try to stick with it. So I think they, for the fumble they had with the technical issues at the beginning, that they corrected it pretty as best as they could. So shout out to them for doing that. And I wish other games would take that into consideration as well. Obviously you want a game to be released to be in excellent condition from the jump, but that's just not always reality. So if they're able to fix it pretty quickly after release, then I think we should be kind of thankful for that. But Cult of the Lamb is a really cool game. I believe it usually runs $29.99. It might be in the $24.99 sale range. So I think you should go pick this up. Kind of one of the more unique games this year, just based on the style and it's just really cool looking. It's fun to look at. It's fun to play. It's mashing up some different type of game styles in a cool way. It's not going too deep down any of them, but it's doing all of them enough where it's cool and it's mixing them together well. So Cult of the Lamb is really cool, and that's why it's the number 4 game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022, Cult of the Lamb. All right, the top 3. This is the gold, the medal, and the silver. These games up here are pretty epic, and I think any of these games could be number 1. I think the number 1 game of the year on this list it's been taken for a while, so I don't think there's too much drama there, but these other games could easily be number 1 on my list, and I wouldn't be too upset. The other game, I've just been riding too much of a hype train not to put it at number 1 for my list. But the third best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show in 2022 is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is going to be a classic video game. It gets called a masterpiece a lot. It's called, one of the most accessible From Software games. So From Software already has a huge fan base, and this game has brought in new fans, including myself. I would now be checking for more From Software games in the future. This game has some of the story stuff, or the lore in this game is created by George R.R. Martin, the Game of the Thrones guy, and this game is badass. And just it's an open world. It's brutal all throughout. You have to be good at fighting. It's another game that rewards you for exploration. There's not much guide to this game at all. So that's one thing I like, or I'm more used to with Horizon Forbidden West, is having more structured quests and waypoints. But Elden Ring really is just an open world, but it's just a scary world. The character designs in this game are cool. The music in this game is cool. The menu music in this game is cool. The abilities are cool. I'm playing like a mage, so I'm shooting. I'm not even really sword fighting people. I'm just blasting them with spells from a staff. Your spectral steed is awesome. You can call your spectral steed at any time and just ride around. You can double jump with your spectral steed. Your character in this game can jump, so that's a new thing for From Software games, and it's just awesome. This game's on sale right now for $41.99 on the consoles. I think if you want to buy, if you have a serious gamer in your life, if they don't have Elden Ring, you should buy them a copy of Elden Ring because there's something they'll like here. I think Elden Ring is one of the best games of the year for sure, and could be up there for one of the best games of all time. It's something that I need to play more of, and I need to I need to get tougher. I need to man up. I need to get in that game and not be scared, and I need to figure out how to kick its ass. So, I think there's over 50 bosses in this game. There's all these huge encounters. There's all these scary enemies, and this is something that could be on the, most played 2022 games of 2023 for me. So we will see. I just need to toughen up a little bit, and I've been toughening up all year for Elden Ring. I've had, multiple ebbs and flows of playing this game, and I've still been playing it recently, and I've been making more progress than I ever have. So I really, really like this game. I couldn't recommend it enough to you out there, and go buy the Elden Ring. So that's why it's number 3 on this list. For Game of the Year list 2022, number 3 is Elden Ring. Great game. All right, number 2. The number 2 Game of the Year for the Dep Lewis Show in 2022 is Vampire Survivors. It's the game that doesn't even have any vampires in there that are trying to kill you that we have found yet. But it is an amazing game. It is simple. It's $1.99. It's $1.99. The DLC is $1.99. It's on Xbox. It's on Xbox Game Pass. It's on PC. It's on Mac, on the Mac side and Windows side. And I can't recommend it enough. I know I've talked about this almost on every podcast that I've been doing because I've been playing a lot of it. When I first started playing this game, I thought there was just one level, and I was happy enough with that. It was fun enough. But there's actually, probably over 10 levels. There's a DLC level now that I bought, and there's multiple characters. I've heard this game actually even does some funkier things than I'm even imagining it could do. So I'm ready for that. It's supposed to, mess with my expectations of it. So it's just seeming like a real, like not a normal game, but a game where you upgrade. I think they're about to throw some things, you're about to mix some things up from what I've heard from some Game of the Year discussion. So there's a lot to be unwrapped here with the Vampire Survivors. The basis of this game, you just move your character around the screen and you're progressively getting upgrades as you level up. And it's just like, you're just trying to get one big run. So you can be playing this game when you first start for a couple minutes, but further as you go, most of your runs are probably in the 20 to 30 minute range. So this game is super fun. My only complaint about this game is that I wish there was a Nintendo Switch copy. I forget exactly what they did, but they did the back end work to allow this game to work on different platforms. They were doing that in the fourth quarter of this year. So, we got the Xbox version sort of recently, and then we're hopefully beginning a Nintendo Switch version, I hope early in 2023, so they can keep riding the hype train of how great this game is. But Vampire Survivors, it has a mobile version. I've tried that, but I don't really like mobile games, and you have to move your character on the screen, by tapping the screen, so that's just not something I'm normally into. But there is a mobile version, so that is another way you can play this game, and I really do think you should just play this game any way that you can. I think we'll start seeing a lot. Not that this game is like doing anything brand new, but I think it took some basic game mechanics and really just excelled on those. So it kind of just took it back down to the basics of video gaming and doing something new. So I could see a lot of people copying this game, and I would be excited to play the copies of this game for sure, because the base gameplay of it's so fun and so simple that it would be cool to play another style or some other type of visual style version of this game. But I think Vampire Survivors have some long legs. This would be a game I'd love to have on Switch and keep as my main version of this game, so I could play it for forever and ever. But I think this could be another classic or timeless game, and just really impressive. This was not something I was checking for before the release of it, so this was something that I just heard that came out, and then I kept hearing that it was only $1.99, and that really intrigued me to buy it. And I ended up buying it on my laptop at first, and then ended up playing it on Game Pass, and then I ended up buying a full copy on Xbox. And then I bought the DLC on Xbox. So I think I've given this game $6, and they've probably given me, hundreds of dollars of enjoyment or something. So Vampire Survivors is very worthy of the number 2 slot on the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list for 2022, and that's why it is there. All right. So hopefully you've been enjoying this list so far. So we're going to go down. Number 10 was Neon White. Number 9, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Number 8, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 7, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number 5, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 4, Cult of the Lamb. Number 3, Elden Ring. Number 2, Vampire Survivors. And the number 1 game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022, the best video game that you could play from 2022, according to this show, is Splatoon 3. Hooray for Splatoon 3. Hooray for all the Splat people. Hooray for all the Inklings and all the Octolings. Hooray, 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 Splatoon 3. Best game of the year for 2022, by far. I've been saying this almost every episode of this game since this game's been released, that I love this game, and that's going to be the game of the year for me, and it still is. I really love this game. I've only played the multiplayer in this game. I've been hearing recently on Game of the Year discussions that the single player stuff is fun. I've heard some people even say that the single player is their favorite part of this game, so that's just really incredible. I'm going to be playing this game a lot in 2023. This is another game that got me back into multiplayer gaming this year. I hadn't been on a big multiplayer gaming hiatus, but this brought me back in, and then Call of Duty kind of got me back in there too. But Splatoon 3 is so fun. I got gifted the 3 new Splatoon amiibo for my birthday, and they work flawlessly in the game, and they do some cool things. I've been playing the Splatfest in this game. The next one comes up January 6th. I just signed up for the Sour Team, so those are really fun to do. So if you're looking to buy this game based on this recommendation, please buy it before January 6th. You can get on the Splatfest. And please join the Sour Team if you want to roll with the Dep Lewis Show, trying to get the Sour Team to number 1. And I just really cool. And I can't, this game was a surprise for me that I like it so much. I think I played a little bit of 1 and 2, but never really caught me as much as this did. But this game immediately, it controls so good. I use the motion controls. I've been using those from the beginning. I feel like I'm sort of good at this game. I feel like I do pretty well in the multiplayer matches. I never even played with anybody that I know. I just jump in. This is a great podcast game. You can listen to podcasts and music while you play, but the music in this game is awesome as well. So I love that it has that freedom in this game where you can do it either way, and that's made it so playable for me. It's really fun in handheld. It's fun on the TV. One only negative is some of the online connectivity stuff doesn't work. Sometimes you'll get booted from a match, or sometimes it'll start to load in and not load in. But I think that's just a small inconvenience, and everybody knows that Nintendo's online performance is really poor. So to have this thing functioning as good as it does with minimal errors is actually kind of a win. But if they can clean up some of that stuff in 2023, or beyond, that would be epic. Because I think this game will have a long tail to it, and I think I'll be playing it for a long while. It's almost like comfort food for me at this point for this year. Like if I really am at a loss for what to play and just want to play something that I'm liking, I can play Splatoon 3. The matches are so short, you can just play a couple matches and really have fun. So I like that part about it too. So I think it's the most worthy game for the number 1 slot for 2022. And Splatoon 3 are amazing. So 2023 is going to have a lot to live up to based on these games of the year. So Splatoon 3, thank you for being the number 1 game of the year for 2022. And I hope everyone listening to this goes out and plays it. And I hope you recommend it to a friend. And I hope you recommend any of the games on this list to your friends, because this is the best top 10 video game list in the universe. So we're going to go over those one more time. And we're gonna go from top down. So we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 game of the year for Dep Lewis Show for 2022 is Splatoon 3. Number 2 is Vampire Survivors. Number 3, Elden Ring. Number 4, Cult of the Lamb. Number 5, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number 7, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Number 8, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 9, The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And number 10, Neon White. So shout out to all those games of the year for the Dep Lewis Show 2022. And shout out to Splatoon 3 for taking home the gold. You games are fucking amazing. I love playing you, and I'll probably be playing most of you some more in 2023 and beyond. All right, so thank you for listening to that official list. I hope you will discover some new games from there, and I hope you'll enjoy them as much as I did. And then just to wrap this midsection up for this Game of the Year Spectacular, I just want to talk about some other games out there that I may have missed. I can't necessarily play everything or buy everything during the course of the year, and spend enough time to have a an educated or cool opinion on. So there's some other games that I bought this year that, let's see, I just want to go over this list real quick. This end part will just be kind of quick. I want to highlight some of the other games that I played this year that didn't quite make the list, and if there's anything I want to tell you about them that stands out. Spelunky 2 came out for Xbox on January 12th, 2022. Spelunky 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I play this game, periodically. But I didn't feel like it'd be correct to include this on this list since Splunky 2, I think it came out at least in 2020, I think. But I've been playing that game for a while, but it was nice to get an Xbox copy. I did take advantage of playing some Splunky 2 through Game Pass, so it's on Game Pass, and I believe it still is. So it was one of those things when I was looking up the release calendar, I'm like, damn, I didn't realize the Xbox version of that came out this year, so it could be in contention for some people's list, but Splunky 2 is kind of in its own category for me. It's one of my favorite games ever, so I think that's enough praise for it for this year. The King of Fighters 15, I bought that in February. I sort of got into that. I like fighting games a lot. I go through fighting game stages of playing those, and that one didn't really hook me, but it was fun to play it, and it's got me looking forward to some Street Fighter 6 in 2023. Fortnite Zero Build Mode came out this year. It came out in March, and that's the first time I've ever really gotten into Fortnite or enjoyed playing Fortnite, so I think that's really cool. I think Fortnite just got some really big visual upgrades recently, and another game that works well cross-platform, and I have some other friends that are playing it. Call of Duty is kind of taking that over, but I still have Fortnite installed, and I check out the shop from time to time, and they're always having cool promotions and cool things in the shop. So I just definitely wanted to shout out Fortnite Zero Build because it's not something I expected that I'd be shouting out. MLB The Show 2022, that's a sports game. You kind of know what you get there. Nobody Saves the World is a game that came out April 14th. I bought this on Nintendo Switch, but it's actually multi-platform. This is a good game where I think if I played it some more, I would like it more, but you just can't always play everything. So Nobody Saves the World may be something to go check out, and I think a lot of people would like it, especially if you're into kind of like roguelike kind of experiences. Another game like that is Rogue Legacy 2. That's something that I think I would like more if I played some more of it, but I played it on the Xbox earlier in the year when it came out in April, and now I believe it's on some more platforms as well, but it was an Xbox exclusive for a little while there, which was cool. So Rogue Legacy 2 is a cool game. Madden NFL 2023. I mainly bought that for some clips where I'm talking about sports, so I don't really have too many expectations there, and that game's been doing great for me. I haven't, I've just been playing to get my clips pretty much, but it's been really easy for that, and it looks good, and the presentation's nice, and it's the football that you expect. And I just want to ditto those comments with NBA 2K23. Same thing. I've just been basically playing that for my clips, and I got a really cheap copy of it, and it's been perfect for that. So it's been really fun to do. All right, let's see. FIFA 2023, that almost made my list, but I just feel like the other games were a little more worthy of getting a shout out for being something new. FIFA's been around for a long time. I just kind of got into it this year, so I could see myself playing a good bit of this in 2023 and maybe even buying the next copy, but I just didn't feel like it was quite there to make the top 10 games of the year. Overwatch 2 came out, and I had like a good week or two of really hype and enjoying playing that, especially I was playing that with Volnus. But I played a ton of Overwatch 1, and it wasn't doing too much different than Overwatch 1, so I think that's why I kind of quickly fell off that, and especially with all these other great games of the year, it's been some things gotta take priority. All right, God of War Ragnarok, that came out 11/9/2022 on PS5. I bought this game. I think my hot take of the year is maybe I'm not a God of War fan, but I also think that I need to play some more of this game. It kind of got boxed out by Horizon Forbidden West when I got back into that, but I think I've tried to play a lot of God of War games, and I've never really gotten into them, so I don't know, that could be something for me to figure out in the future about what I'm thinking about God of War, but it definitely seems like a lot of people are liking that, and you should definitely go check that out if you like some God of War. So that was another game I just wanted to highlight. A few other games that were really close to my number 10 slot. I know Neon White got it, but Ollie Ollie World was one of those. If I played some more, it might have been on the list. Like I said earlier, Rogue Legacy 2, Nobody Saves the World could have been some contenders there. Mini Motorways could have been a contender for that 10 slot. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge could have been could have been close to that spot. And then another game called Tunic. So those are all games that were on a short list. Ollie Ollie, Nobody Saves the World, Rogue Legacy 2, Mini Motorways, Tunic, and what was the other one? Maybe TMNT Shredder's Revenge. But those are all games that were really close that I really liked, but just couldn't quite crack the top 10. That's why Neon White snuck in. But I feel like a lot of those games were like half a hair away from getting in there, and there was a lot of great games this year, is all I want to say. All right. And then the last thing here, I want to talk about games I didn't purchase but I'm interested in. I'm just going to run down those real quick just so we can highlight those names of those games. All right, and that is River City Girls. There's actually River City Girls 2 came out on December 15th, so there's two games for River City Girls that came out in 2022. Uncharted: The Legacy of Thieves collection came out in January. Sifu is on multiple platforms now. That's had multiple releases, but that was first came out in February for PS5. Triangle Strategy is a Switch game. Gran Turismo 7 on PS5. Stray is a PS5 exclusive, and that's something I still want to buy and play. That's the cat game, and it looks really cool. It's on sale right now too. I think it's $23.99. Live Alive for Nintendo Switch. That's an old game that's never been brought to the West, and it's been updated visually, and that's something I'd like to play at some point too. Live Alive. Strange Horticulture came out in July. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out in July. That's something I'd like to play at some point. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection came out in August. That looks cool. That has Turtles in Time in there, which is one of my games I really liked when I was young. There's a game called Tinykin that came out in August. The Last of Us Part 1 came out in September. That was a remake. Nier Automata, that is the Nintendo Switch version, which actually is supposed to be running really good. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope came out in October. Signalis came out in October. Bayonetta 3 came out in October. Return to Monkey Island had a new game in November. Sifu, got his Nintendo Switch release in November. Sonic Frontiers is something that I purchased but I haven't played. That got released November 8th. Pentiment is something that I want to play. That's an Xbox exclusive. That's a really cool looking story game. It's on Game Pass, and it came out 11/15. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out in November as well, but those games have a lot of technical issues, but I think there are some people enjoying the actual game there. Inscription came out in December for Nintendo Switch. Need for Speed Unbound looks like actually a pretty cool entry in the Need for Speed game, and that game really had no hype getting announced. The Callisto Protocol actually seemed to be a little bit underwhelming, but it graphically looks cool and looks like it is doing some cool things. So I would maybe check that game out if it was on sale, but it's running at $69.99 pretty steadily right now. And then that River City Girls 2, that was the most recent game on this list, 12/15/2022. So that's just a list of things that I'll be checking for. Possibly picking some of those up in the new year in 2023. All right, let's see here. So that's going to really wrap up the Game of the Year section. I'm going to hit you with a teaser. I hit you with a teaser about video game New Year's resolutions earlier in the podcast, and we're going to actually hold those off until next week. We're going to talk about those New Year's resolutions for video games starting in the new year. So that's just a double teaser to you, and I just want to thank you for listening to the Game of the Year section. So that's what we just discussed in this mid-section of the show. We discussed what I've been seeing, which is Dwarf Fortress. That's that living game that's been out since 2003, but it got its Steam release in December, so just go check out some information on that game. We talked about the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year for 2022, the official list. The 10 best games of the year were in this order: Splatoon 3, Vampire Survivors, Elden Ring, Cult of the Lamb, Horizon Forbidden West, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Pokemon Legends Arceus, The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and Neon White. We talked about other games that I played but didn't quite make the list. There's a lot of good contenders there of close games that could have made the list, and a lot of things that I'll continue to play and want to play some more of. So really, really cool list of games. And there's also a whole list of games that I didn't purchase but I'm interested in. I think there's like 20 something of those. So 2022 was an incredible year of video games. I would love to start looking at, from when I started this podcast, year over year, looking at, which year had the best game. So we're going to eventually be looking at, the top 10 from this year versus top 10 for next year, and ranking those at some point, and then, eventually doing some all-time favorite games of the Dep Lewis Show ranking system. But this is just the beginning of it, and I think it was a great year to start on. I just really want to shout out any and all of these games, and any game that I forgot, and any game that you've enjoyed personally. If you'd like to tell me about them, please, email DepLewisShow@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your feedback, and, I try to keep up with most things, but you can't always keep up with everything. So, sometimes a nod or a help from someone else is helpful. So, just like mini Motorways, I've been really turned on to that recently. So, just shout out to all the video games for 2022, and thank you for giving me some great content to talk about on the Dep Lewis Show. So we're going to wrap this midsection up of this Game of the Year extravaganza section, and we're going to come back to end the show for the miscellaneous talk section. We're going to talk some sports, and then we're going to get you out of here, and we're going to say Happy New Year. So please go take another quick break, and I'm going to as well, and we'll be back in just a minute. Hey, welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 13. We're going to talk about some sports here, and then we're going to get you out of here for another great episode of the Dep Lewis Show. And so we're going to be kind of quick on this because this is the Game of the Year extravaganza episode. So this episode is mainly about the video games, but I do want to talk about a few of my favorite teams out there in the world. The official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers. They beat the Lions last week. It was a great game. There was a ton of rushing yards. Foreman and Hubbard balled out, and so did the rookie as well. DJ Moore had a tud with an amazing toe tap catch as well in that game. So that was great to see, and love seeing a DJ Moore touchdown. Brian Burns had multiple sacks, so he was getting after it. And they gave up some points at the end of the game, but the game wasn't really close. They really kicked the Lions' ass. And the Lions are a good team and have been winning a lot of games recently. So Panthers took care of business, and they really got to take care of business this week. They're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and that's a win-or-go-home game. So Panthers got to win this game this week to have a chance at the playoffs. If they can beat the Bucs, then they will be 2-0 against the Bucs in the division this year, and will hold the tiebreaker over them. And then if they can beat the Saints in the following week, the Panthers can beat the Saints, and they are in the playoffs as the division winner. But I think they can also beat the Bucs, and then I think some things could happen, and they don't have to beat the Saints. But the first goal, the first objective is to beat the Bucs. So that's the only thing that Panthers fans should be concerned with. And we're not going to have J.C. Horn, and we signed Josh Norman back. So old 24 is coming back wearing number 6. And my only guess is because 2 + 4 = 6. But I really hope he can come in and make an impact. He's not supposed to start, but he is going to get some reps, and we are going to need him because the secondary is a little bit depleted. We came into the season with D-Jack and JC, and JC looks like he could be an all-pro kind of guy at one point, and D-Jack is a great player in his own right. But we're going to really need these guys in the secondary to step up, and we're going to need Brian Burns to rush the hell out of them and get to Tom Brady, get him another sack on the GOAT. So I hope we'll see that. So next week we'll be talking about the result of the Bucs game, and hopefully the Panthers' playoff hopes will still be alive. That's what I'm really hoping for here to end the new year. All right, the official NBA team of the Dep Lewis Show is the Atlanta Hawks. I keep reading more and more trade rumors. I don't know how realistic they are, but there is a lot of musings on the internet about what the Hawks are going to do with the Trae Young situation. I think it's more likely we'll see the coach fired, but I don't know. They lost by 1 point to Brooklyn the other night. There was no Trae in this game, but it was fun watching Murray and Collins were playing pretty well. Brooklyn seems to be rolling right now. Kyrie and Durant are in a groove, and that's pretty dangerous. Brooklyn's no joke when those guys are really playing. So it was kind of disappointing to see the 1 point loss, but a good battle either way, and without Trae. I think Trae was back last night. The Hawks lost to the Lakers last night in Atlanta. It was a close game. LeBron had 47 points on his 38th birthday, so they just got, they got the LeBron show in Atlanta last night. And, many arenas have gotten the LeBron show over the years, and everybody can get got by that. So, I don't know. The Hawks are sitting 17-19 after that game, a little bit under 500. Had some injury stuff, the weird trade dynamic going on, but they definitely need to get Trae back in this lineup and get some type of groove going before the All-Star break. This team really got to put up or shut up at this point and really got to show us who they're going to be. So hopefully Trae and Capella will be back healthy for a while, and the other guys will stay healthy, and we can kind of get some wins going. We need to get above 500, and I hope they'll be doing so. So I'll be letting you know what's going on with the Hawks again next week. But for this week, it's been some close losses and a lot of rumors. So not kind of the best stuff for the Hawks going on. All right, the other Atlanta team that is the official baseball team, Major League Baseball team of the Dep Lewis Show, is the Atlanta Braves. There have been a few little signings with the Braves, nothing really outstanding or things that I know a lot about the players to talk about, but wondering if they can swoop in on Carlos Correa is something I'm wondering. The Mets still aren't liking the medicals or something, so that deal's not completely official. But I don't think the Braves are going to give him a long-term big bag, but I did hear they could give him a couple years of a big bag, so I don't know. I would maybe be in favor for that. It'd be kind of a cool. That'd be a really big addition to the lineup. So we will see. Checking out for that Atlanta Braves news, but I kind of think that's going to be about it until March, until the season starts. So we will see. Hopefully Ronald Acuna Jr. is just coming back playing MVP level baseball, and that'll make me really happy. So, all right. So last thing that'll make me happy is to tell you Happy New Year out there. I really appreciate you listening in 2022 to this podcast. It's been really great starting this podcast in 2022, And I can't wait to bring it to you weekly in 2023. It's been one of the more fun things I've been doing recently. And it's been a great way to engage with my hobby that I've liked since I was little, with the video games. And I think it's been really fun, and I enjoy doing it. So just thank you for listening. I want to say Happy New Year to you. I hope your 2023, and I hope all your days are good. Not just 2023. I hope they're all good. I hope your next hour's good. Hope your life's good. And if you want a New Year's resolution, you can sign up for the Patreon. That's a good one. But next weekend, we'll come back and we're going to talk next week. Yeah, we're going to come back and talk about our video game New Year's resolution. So we'll talk about that some. So if you want to think about some of those for yourself, that'd be kind of fun. Or if you want to email them into the DepLewisShow@gmail.com, you can. But that is going to be it for this episode this week. So this was the 13th episode of the Dep Lewis Show. I want to remind you to follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You need to like, you need to subscribe, you need to rate, you need to comment, you need to review, you need to turn on notifications, and you need to tell a friend. You can email those questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of this show, the Dep Lewis Show, are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. There are clips of this show on YouTube and TikTok, and I just appreciate the hell out of you for being a listener. And Happy New Year to you. Thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week for episode 14. First episode of the new year, first episode of 2023, so get the hell ready for it, and we'll be there. See you next week. Peace.